Hey, welcome. Today we got a unique blower motor issue on this Silverado that's causing the battery to go dead. So what makes this unique is it's not the common blower motor issue that you find on most GMs where the blower motor either doesn't work or the blower motor only works on a few speeds. This blower motor is stuck on all the time. When the fuse is in, the blower motor is on, and even when the key is off, the blower motor is still stuck on. And it's getting pretty cold here in Wisconsin, so we want to get this thing fixed. So we're going to start by looking at a wiring diagram. Okay, so looking at the system here, we can see this is an automatic system because we have a blower control processor, which is just a fancy name for resistor. And we have our HVAC control module here. So let's kind of break this thing down and figure out how it works. We have battery positive up here, and this is battery all the time. It goes to this 10 amp HVAC fuse, which goes to our HVAC control module. And then we have battery positive here that goes to this 40 amp fuse that goes all the way down to our control processor. Now, this fuse right here is the fuse we pull to make that blower motor turn off. So it looks like most of the stuff we're worried about is in this circle here. So I'm going to clear this out and zoom in so we can see it just a little bit better. Okay, so now we got this thing kind of zoomed in. We'll redraw our power here, which comes down. You can see the ground is also down here coming off the processor. And then here is our blower motor. And looks like these two wires go directly to the processor also. Now, knowing that our problem is that the blower motor won't turn off, you can kind of already assume that we don't have a problem here or with the ground or with this wiring here. So that really just leaves one more wire for us to check, right? This is the control wire from the HVAC control module. And reading through service information, we figured out how this works. This blower control processor sends 5 volts on this wire, and the HVAC control module just grounds it. And it uses a pulse width modulated ground. Now, if we have our 5 volts here and it's pulse width modulated, it's going to create a 5 volt wave signal. And this is something we can test. We want to make sure that the HVAC module is controlling that blower resistor correctly, so we know if it's the HVAC module that's causing the fan to stick on, or if this blower control processor is just ignoring all commands and sticking the fan on by itself. So to do that today, we're going to use our lab scope. So let's pull up our lab scope here. All right, so you can see we have 2 traces here, and this red trace, this is going to be an amperage trace. And we know that blower motors can kill blower motor resistors, whether they're automatic or manual if they draw too much amperage. So this is kind of just a preemptive test to see what kind of amperage we have here. But we're not gonna get anything unless we get that fuse in there. So let's put that fuse in there and see what we get. Okay, so with that fuse in there, I can already hear the blower motor running, and you can see here that we are already drawing what it looks about like 12, 13 amps, and that's pretty high. Now, if you look here, we have 5 volts, but you can see that there's no control at all, and this is because the key of this car is not even on yet. So what we need to do is let's get this key on and see if we can get some kind of signal from that HVAC control module. Okay, so with the key on, and it looks like we are at high speed, you can see that we have a square wave control. But if you look, our amperage did not change at all. I kind of have a line right here. You can see the amperage hasn't changed, but this, remember, is high speed. And if you don't have a lab scope, you can always use a multimeter, but you're going to get an average of voltage. You're not going to get that pretty square wave pattern that we have here. And you can see we're at 1.69, about 1.7 volts. So let's change the speed here once and see if we get a change. Okay, so this is about medium speed. And you can see our square wave pattern has changed a little bit, which means our HVAC control module is correctly controlling the blower motor. But look at this. Our amperage has not changed at all. And if we look at our multimeter here, the voltage has also changed on that, which is a good sign that our HVAC control module is doing its job. So we're going to go all the way down to low speed here, and now you can see that square wave pattern has really changed. Now you can see it's much bigger blocks here. The on time is completely different, but look at here. Our amperage still hasn't changed, so this thing is stuck on full speed. And if you look at our multimeter here, we've actually went up to 5.2 volts. So I think this is a pretty good indication that our HVAC control module is working correctly it looks like we're gonna have to put a blower motor resistor in here, and we have one of those right here. You can see it's got a pretty big heat sink here, and it also comes with a new wiring harness, which means it's probably a new design. Now, if you have this issue and you are going to replace your blower motor resistor, remember, don't twist these wires together or use any black tape. You're gonna wanna use either solder and heat shrink or some really good butt connectors to fix this. So before this battery dies here quick, let me turn this off. Okay, so that pretty much sums up the diagnosis on this truck, right? We know that our blower motor works, obviously, and you can still see that we had about 12 amps, and rule of thumb that we would have went off of is about half of what it's fused at. If it was anything over 20 amps is probably when we would be concerned. We've seen our signal over here before was changing with the HVAC control module, and we can confirm that our blower motor is running even with the key off. So this one is going to need a processor. I hope that you got something out of this video, and I hope it helps you fix your car if you have this same issue. If you liked what you've seen here today, subscribe, click that bell icon so you get notified when we make another video. Otherwise, thanks for watching.